Hey everybody, Glenn from Third Millennium. Today we've got a short video. We're going to show you how to install our Airhorn Kit into the third generation Miata, 2006 to 2015. This is our 2012, and we're going to use this to do the install. And this is a perfect time, actually. We're filming this in early spring. We're getting the Miatas out of storage, doing an oil change. That's the perfect time to be doing this. It's easier if you have the car up on some ramps. You don't need any special lift, you don't even need jack stands, but to get a little bit of extra room to work under the front, because in the third generation car, the horn installs from underneath. Now we have another video for the second generation, the NBs, the 99 to 2005s. We'll leave a link for that. We don't have a first gen video up yet. We are going to do one of those. But with all of them, and we also, the Horn Kit works now with the fourth generation, the NDs up through the current model year. With all of these, we include full, nice instructions, color pictures, and like all of our kits, to put this in, it's really a straightforward job. Pretty much anybody should be able to do this. There's no compressors and tubing you have to run. There's no wires you've got to cut and splice or anything like that. And we supply all of the hardware so that all you need really is a wrench, a couple of wrenches to put this kit in. We'll go over the tools in a second. And the nice part is this is fully reversible, so that if you do sell your Miata and want to put it back to stock, maybe you're upgrading to a new year Miata, you can do that relatively quickly and take your horn with you to your next vehicle. So let's go ahead, go over to where I have the parts laid out for the kit and go through exactly what you're going to need to do. All right, let's talk about the tools you're going to need for the job. It's really not much. 13 millimeter wrench, 10 millimeter wrench. Sockets will also work. And in fact, for putting the new horn into place, you really do, I mean, you can do it without it, but it's very, very much easier if you have a 3 or a 4-inch extension for a 10 millimeter socket, because it allows you to reach past the body of the horn. So that's a good thing to have. And then also a Phillips head screwdriver you're going to need for removing the plastic shield. You can also use a 5/16 inch nut driver. That will work as well. But this is really all that you need to go ahead and do the job. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, and before doing any work on the car, electrical work, one always disconnect ground cable from the battery. In our Miata here, we've got one of our battery disconnects on, so one turn and the battery is disconnected. All right, we're down looking through the opening, and by the way, you might want to pull your license plate off. If it sticks down, covers a little bit of this, just to give yourself some more room to work. But we're going to be working over here on the side. That's the stock horn right there. There is a single connector right there on the side of the horn. That is the power connector. Okay, so what our task is going to be, we have to remove that bolt right there and remove that power connector there. And unless you've got the skinniest arms in the world, you're not going to be able to work through the grill itself. So what we're going to do, you see we've got that plastic tray underneath. We're not going to remove the whole tray. We're just going to remove 5 of the connectors in the front of that tray, which will let us just pull the lip down a little bit so we can reach up and work on the horn there. So let me get the camera and some lights and so forth put into place so you can see that, and then we'll go ahead and get that tray off. All right, try to do this without blocking it too much. All right, I think that's about as good as I can get for the camera. First thing we're going to do is try to get this electrical connector off right here. So I'm just reaching up underneath. This is one of those squeeze and wiggle types of deals. Pull that off. That gives you room to get the wrench up here onto this. Okay, and get the wrench up onto here. This might be a little bit tight if there's a little corrosion on this bolt, but usually comes right off. And yes, obviously if you have a socket set or a ratcheting wrench, you can do it too with that. It goes a little faster. And just pull the whole thing out from the bottom. Okay, well, now we'll go back over to our new horn and put the pieces together. All right, here we go. Here's the old horn. You sort of get a sense of, you know, everybody knows how pitiful the Miata horns are. You know, somebody's running you off the road and you hit the horn and they just laugh when they hear this thing. So good to get rid of that. You won't need this old bolt. The new one we supply is longer to go through the mounting bar. So what we need to do first is we take the square head bolt. We're going to put the square head part into this cast slot, and we're going to line up this mounting bar so that it comes straight out in the body of the horn like that. This is a nylock type nut, and again 13 millimeter for the size, and the reason we use the nylock is because it can't vibrate loose. So go ahead, tighten that into place, and again, if you have a socket, you can certainly use that. Now you want that tight, but don't get crazy about it, okay? Next thing we need to do, we need to attach our wires here. We have red, which is for the 12 volt positive, black, which is for your ground. The legends are embossed plus and minus on the back, the plastic on the back of this horn area here. So you can't put them on backwards. They only go one way. So take the red, put that onto the plus terminal. Usually a little wiggle gets it until you seat it all the way down. And then same thing with the black. Put that on the minus terminal. Okay, with those two in place, we're ready to go back over to the car with our new mounting bolt, again 10 millimeter, and mount our horn back into place. I'll move the camera back over and we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Alright, so we're ready to go back in. So pull down to get the horn into the underhood area. Pull down in the center of the tray where you have the most room to pull it apart. And you should be able to sort of wiggle that into place and get it in so that you're ready to work with it. Now, bring up the black wire, and you're going to take the mounting screw that we've provided, put that through, and dropping it 3 or 4 times, which you probably will. Put that through the ring on the black wire, the mounting ring, and then you're going to put the whole assembly up into place just like that. Okay? This is where you're going to get your socket that has that short extension that I mentioned to you, just so that you can clear the body of the horn as you tighten that into place. And just go ahead and work that in. You don't need to get too crazy on it. Just make sure that it's in there really solidly. Okay, now we need to connect the positive horn lead to this red extension. And the reason the red extension is there again is just to make sure that we have enough wire. So go ahead, go up and find that lead that's there. And you're going to make the connection, and I don't have a way to show this. It's behind the horn body itself. Just plug the two together. Okay. And that's it. Let's go ahead and put the screws for the lower tray back on. All right, next step, up under the hood, we're going to replace the existing 15 amp fuse that's in the fuse box with a 20 amp fuse. You can identify the fuse. There's a legend on the back for identifying the fuses, but if your NC is like our 2012, it's the second one down here on the top. Let me zoom in the camera so you guys can see that. It's this one right here. And sometimes you get these out with your fingers. They sometimes have a little tool in here for grabbing the fuses. And you basically just kind of put that over the side, pull that out like that, and then take the 20 that we've supplied and just simply push it into place. The 20 we supply is not a low profile, it's just a normal fuse. There's no reason that this needs a low profile specifically, so that's the reason we put them in. They are easier to handle that way. You can keep this as a spare. And the reason why we include this is the Marco horn draws fairly close to the 15 amps of this stock fuse that's in here. Because Mazda does use a 20 amp relay in the system, that means there really isn't any reason why we can't just put the 20 amp fuse in there to work with that. And we've been doing this for a long time, haven't had any problems, and a lot of other people that have been dealing with horns and Miatas for years have done the same thing as well, and also haven't had any problems. So then go ahead, put your little fuse tool back into place, and put your cover back on. All right, and last step, back over to our battery box. We're going to reconnect our ground terminal, and in our case, we have one of our battery disconnects that we use, so it's simply one turn to disconnect, one turn to reconnect. It's really nice if you're doing electrical work on your Miata or you store it for the winter. If you don't have these, I'll leave a link for it on the website. It's a nice little product. So we're reconnected. Let's go give the horn a test. Anyway, that's it. I hope this has helped you guys out. It's not a bad install. Just take your time doing it, and I don't think you'll run into any problems with it. If you found this video helpful, give us a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out our other videos that we have, mostly audio, of course, for the Miatas, but we do have some other videos we put in just about some other Miata topics in general, maintenance and some other upgrades, and we think you'll enjoy those. Anyway, any questions, leave them below in the comments. Glad to respond to you. Hope this helps you out, and thanks very much.